A new year brings new tech, a full year of your releases in 2025 and a full year ahead in 2026. And a lot of tech videos are focused on why you should be buying the latest release. But I'm here telling you to do the opposite and buy less. Because if you're like me, you don't have an infinite amount of money or lucrative sponsorships to get all the newest tech. So with that in mind, I took the start of 2026 to rethink the way that I think about my travel tech. And I came up with two main criteria that needed to be met if I was looking at a new piece of tech or upgrading the old piece. The first one is that for anything that I've already got, did it need an upgrade because A, it wasn't performing to the level I needed it to perform, or B, it was too bulky or too heavy and getting in the way and needed downsizing. The second criteria is for new pieces of tech, and it was what did I actually feel like I was missing when I went abroad and wanted to film. Because it's really easy to see all these promotional videos and think, I want that. But I think we can become a lot stricter with ourselves in thinking, how much is that actually going to help me with my experience when I go traveling and when I want to film. So here's a breakdown of the gear that I'm running for 2026 and how you can apply the same logic and criteria to your setup as well, regardless of the items that you already have. And what better place to start things off than with a camera that was released 3 years ago now. A camera that's become pretty much the first name on the team sheet for things I'm putting in my bag. I am of course talking about the Osmo Pocket 3, every creator's favorite mini camera and something that I think has been punching way above its weight since its release in 2023. In fact, I've done a dedicated video to this camera last year and why I was running it then, and to be honest, a lot of the reasons have stayed the same as to why I'll be running it this year. For its size, I still don't think that there's anything that even remotely rivals this camera. With a range of adjustable settings, the ability to film in D-Log-M and then color grade, the 1-inch sensor, the flippable screen, and you could switch between the front-facing and the rear-facing camera without losing any quality like you would on a phone. All of these things combined mean that I just really don't think that there's much chance that I replace this camera until DJI release the next version of it, or another company comes out with something much better than what's already available. Sticking with cameras, the second one that I have in my bag is the DJI Action 5 Pro. With DJI releasing the Action 6 and the Osmo Nano last year, this is where having a strict upgrade criteria really comes in handy. But first, here's why the action camera makes it into my bag in the first place. To be honest, I've been on and off about bringing the Action 5 on a lot of my trips purely because of how well the Pocket 3 performs, but recently it has made it as a staple in my bag. That's because it excels at two things that the Pocket 3 does fall down on. The first one is kind of obvious, but it's action shots. And the weatherproofing that the action camera has means that this can just film in situations where the Osmo Pocket 3 just can't. The second, and arguably the most important use case for me, is the ability to take non-intrusive POV shots when I'm out and about, which I've started doing with a newer addition to my equipment that I'll come on to later. So this begs the question, if I love the Action 5 Pro so much, why not upgrade to an Action 6 or take even less intrusive POV shots with the Osmo Nano? Well, the Osmo Action 5 Pro was already performing at the level I needed it to. Sure, the low light performance isn't amazing, it isn't mind-blowing, but it's an action camera after all. And the newest edition, the Action 6, for me doesn't bring huge improvements in that particular area anyway. And yes, while the Nano is noticeably smaller, the inferior performance meant I've been downgrading the quality of the footage for a size difference that was never really an issue in the first place. It's easy to get drawn into the latest gear and the latest upgrades, but by having a strict criteria like this, you reduce your risk of buying just from FOMO. These next two items are Osmo Pocket 3 accessories, where I actually have made an upgrade from gear that I used to cover. And here I'll show you where the criteria works for actually making those upgrades that maybe you need to or maybe you'll benefit from. The first is a tweak to how I add stability to the Osmo Pocket 3. When I first bought the camera, I used this tripod, robust and sturdy, but I quickly realized the weight of the metal design was unnecessarily heavy in a slim bag, and the size of the tripod was bigger than I needed. So I moved to this smaller and lighter mini plastic tripod. This was great because it was super stable for everything I needed, and it meant the camera never got knocked over. However, I still faced two problems with this. The first was it was taking up more space than I needed it to in my bag. The second is that I'd have to take it out and screw it into the bottom of my camera every single time I wanted to use it, which doesn't sound like a pain, but for 10 seconds of video, it really wasn't making much sense. I realized I was only ever using this to put the camera down on flat surfaces like a table to film myself. And so I moved to this small flat silicone base that simply slides on and off the bottom of the Pocket 3, provides more than enough stability for what I needed and saves space in my bag. The second attachment at first looks identical to my previous casing. However, when the latch on my old one broke, I took the opportunity to get one with foldable attachment connections at the back. I love this case because it means you can have the ability to attach things like a magnetic mount on the back to help film yourself hands-free, offers some great protection to the front buttons, and still allows you to use the joystick and record buttons without issue. These foldable ones meant I just didn't have to deal with an extra bit digging into my leg when I put it in my pocket, and since the old one was broken anyway, the upgrade was a no-brainer. I've also included the base part of the Osmo Pocket 3 in this video, as although it's not really an accessory, it is important if you want to add that screw hole at the bottom for putting on a tripod like I'm doing now, if you're recording yourself at home or indoors. But it's also an opportunity to be able to point out that I didn't opt for the Creator Bundle when I first purchased this camera, which adds the extra battery handle. This is because A, that handle would just take up additional space, and B, I was pretty happy using the portable charger to be able to charge the Pocket 3 out and about. The final camera accessory is this newer addition that I was talking about earlier, and one that's been getting a lot of usage as of lately, especially with my Action 5 Pro, and that's this magnetic mounting system. I knew I really wanted to start taking more POV shots, and so when I knew I wasn't going for the Osmo Nano, this wearable mount usually goes under my hoodie or top, so the magnet can just be pulled on and off without having to walk around with the whole harness on display. The camera also comes off the mount really easily if you want to move between that and a handheld view, and the magnet is great for sticking to metal surfaces like a car for a variety of shots. Therefore, this ticked the box of something that I really felt that I was missing when I was out and about, and now gets regular usage, so makes it onto every single trip. Unexciting and unappreciated, these next two items are still undeniably useful and help me do more whilst carrying less. The first is the Nano SD card holder. I debated buying a portable external hard drive for my trips, but that would involve either taking a laptop with me or bringing another piece of hardware to transfer from an SD to an external hard drive using my phone. It's unnecessarily complicated, so instead I just bring maybe 2 or 3 SD cards on a trip and store them in this tiny holder. Then once I'm home, I can do everything I need to do to transfer the files across. And what's great is this holder is only just thicker than a credit card and slides easily into your wallet. If I do want to view my files before I'm home or want to send a video or something to friends and family, that's where this tiny SD card reader comes in really handy. It has both USB-A and USB-C connections, and so seamlessly allows you to view and transfer your files onto both your phone or any PC. I've had this for a couple of years now, and although there's probably faster models out there, I'm really happy with everything this does, and it hits absolutely all of my needs while taking up virtually no space, and therefore comes in really useful when traveling light. Another DJI product that received an upgrade in the last year was the DJI Mic 2 that I'm using to record on now, with the DJI Mic 3 launching towards the back end of last year. Sound is everything in the video, and with a new product that's technically better and smaller in size, this is where you have to be really strict with your criteria of where you're going to spend your money and what upgrades you're going to make. Because whilst the tech in the Mic 3 is technically better, and yes, the form factor is smaller, the Mic 2 was already doing absolutely everything I needed it to. And as you can see, the size of it is already not really an issue. DJI already did such a good job of packing a high-performing microphone into such a small form factor that although if I was buying a portable mic for the first time, I now would opt for the Mic 3, spending money to upgrade something that was already performing exactly as I needed it to didn't feel like the smartest use of my money or the best upgrade that I could make. If you've watched any of my videos, it's the mic I use everywhere, and although it's not studio level performance, it does do exceptionally well for such a small portable mic. Rounding this list off, I have 2 bits of tech that don't even really feel that techy anymore and basically just items that anyone has in their bag, but I wanted to go through them anyway. The first is my Sony earphones, another 2023 release that I feel still continues to perform 3 years later. If you've ever done some research into earphones or headphones, you know the choices are endless and the options become overwhelming. With so many players in the audio space, it feels like there's a new headphone or earphone every single week. But with great active noise cancelling, plenty of battery life and impressive sound quality, I still see no reason to look for an alternative or an upgrade for now. The final item in my tech bag is my trusted 10,000 mAh portable charger. I left this one till last as it's the one that I think is most likely to be replaced next. It does charge my devices, holds enough charge to top up my phone a few times, and isn't a massive brick that weighs down my bag. However, this model only offers slower charging speeds, which can be an issue if my phone drops to low battery when I'm out and about. And there are slimmer versions that are even lighter. This does often come at reduced battery capacity unless you're willing to fork out a bit more money, but it's still definitely a factor for day-to-day usage. Therefore, it kind of half ticks both boxes for upgrading gear, and whilst it's not an immediate concern, it probably is the next thing that I'll look out for, even if it's not the most exciting piece of tech out there.